We are now looking at part 2 of the myth of decline. And I'm so excited to be presenting this series. I cannot wait to tell you these things. So we're going to start off with that list that we showed in part 1. And we're going to start off on incontinence. Now, I believe I've done another video on my YouTube channel about this, but this bears repeating. Yes, there's different kinds of incontinence. There's urge, there's stress, there's retention. I'm not going to go into any of those details. What I want to do is talk about the myth that incontinence is a rite of passage before you go below ground. I mean, look at this. They're trying to make like leaking urine without control is a feminine activity. Really? So this is not what anyone wants, right? Male or female. And so we've really got to look at why is it happening? And you know, I like I said, I've done other videos. I'm not going to go into great detail. I'm here to bust the myths. Okay. So pelvic floor anatomy. Now, I just use the word pelvic floor because everybody's used to that term, but it's actually a pelvic bowl. It's not a floor. It's not something flat. And all the muscles and the fascia in this area of your body work together to provide the stability to support the structures, including your bladder. And when you train to load these muscles eccentrically, and if you've listened to any of my talks, and I've got lots of free videos, I do lots of free events. When you learn to load these muscles eccentrically, it really is the answer to restoring strength anywhere in the body, including the pelvic floor. And when you restore that strength, you can now support a full bladder successfully without unwanted urine leakage. And it's not just about, working the pelvic floor and doing anything internal, anything that you might be used to. You may have gone to a professional for this. I'm not putting anyone down for their training. But the pelvic floor is not going to work properly until these areas of the body are working right together. Your ankle function, your trunk function, and your hip rotation. Yes, those all matter. Everything's connected to everything else, and they do impact the function of your pelvic floor or your pelvic bowl, if we want to be more accurate, right? So it's really important you understand this. This is why most people who, or I should say pretty much everybody who becomes wheelchair bound becomes incontinent. Pretty much everybody who becomes bed bound becomes incontinent because those muscles weaken. They stop working because you're no longer weight bearing. You're not rotating your hips. You're not working the trunk. You're not triggering from below and above all the things that have to trigger each other in order for your body to function properly, right? Authentic human function training. All right, another myth, fatigue and lethargy. There's a lot of reasons that we feel tired or lethargic or lose motivation. Medical conditions, medications, sleep issues, emotional issues that are unresolved, lifestyle that's very sedentary or promotes those other things, right? It is a myth that fatigue and lethargy are unavoidable as you age. A lot of people have fatigue just because they're dehydrated. They're not hydrating well. They're not drinking enough water. Your muscles are 78% water. Now, come on, let's look at the facts here. If somebody's not moving, if they're sitting all the time, yeah, and they're not drinking water, they're not feeding their body properly, they're going to be tired. It's common sense. It's not an aging issue. I know me, if I sit around all day, I feel tired at the end of the day. And I know it's not because I'm older, but if I get up and I do something, I feel better. I feel energized. Movement can actually energize you. So we need to understand these things and how they work, right? And then weight gain. Yeah, that's another myth. Weight gain has to do, your metabolism can change because you can develop something called sarcopenia. You stop moving. How you're nourishing your body, of course, is hugely key to whether or not you're gaining weight. And then how you're training. It is a myth that everyone gains weight when they get older. It is not true. If you've lost muscle mass, you're going to slow down your metabolism. So you're going to burn fewer calories. If you're not moving, if you're inactive, you're going to burn fewer calories. So you might be eating the same way you ate when you were in your 20s and your 30s, but you're gaining weight now. Have you stopped moving? Have you lost muscle mass? What has changed? Something has changed. And it's not just because you're older. All right. I look forward to the next part in this series, The Myth of Decline.